Wait 2 minutes.
We've got, I started the recording, and I think we're going to have a smaller crowd today because of the, because this is the, it's up to you, sure. We might have one more or two more, but so let me just welcome everyone to our Microsoft Excel. We have one more coming in, so I'll let them in. Hey, David.
Hey, Dave.
This class is the third of the series, and we are thrilled to have Shlomo do these for us. This is going to be recorded like the beginner and the intermediate, and of course now the accelerated class. What we're going to do is, and if anyone wants to share the classes, they'll be available on YouTube. Just send me an email message and I'll be more than glad to get them to you. I'm not going to put anyone on mute because we have a small group, and so that way, yes? Okay. We'll be able to ask questions. If, on the other hand, it becomes too much, Shlomo will say, hold your questions, and or I'll just put that individual on mute. You can always unmute yourself. Shlomo, what were you saying?
I'm saying is, since the group is small, and if you have a question that you don't follow it or you cannot see well, please speak up. Just we want the thing to flow and have questions in the end, if possible. But if you really don't see where my error is, just ask and just bring it up so I'll re-emphasize it.
Yes. Also, I wanted to talk to you about our upcoming October class. We had previously in the group of thinkers, tickers, and I proposed that we do a little bit about the smart house using obviously the Google or Alexa or the Apple, and a lot of things are happening there. We hope to have the class set up for October, and we'll be putting that announcement out not only in Thinkers, Tinkers, and I, but also Facebook, but also the Valencia Shores Facebook. So
what is Thinker Tinker?
What is Thinkers, Tinkers, and I is the club that you are participating in. And it's a Valencia Shores club. And we got it approved last March. And Thinkers, Tinkers, and I is the club that is putting this activity, monthly activity on.
Okay, I remember reading about it, that you're going to create a club, or that you created a club and then we had cover. Perfect.
This is it.
Perfect.
This is it because we were not able to have it in the social hall. So we created it, and we're
show you something.
You got it. Oh, she's going to show us something. Let's see what it is.
I had it marked to call you.
Ah.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you called. Now you can call me anytime.
Thank you.
So with that being said, Shlomo, it's all yours, and we are jealous again that you're in Plum Island, and that is from his rooftop, everyone. And how's the weather? Rub it in. What's the weather like?
Well, let me tell you, what you see now is maybe we'll see this afternoon or tomorrow. Today is 30 miles an hour wind, and it feels like 52 degrees. So I'm sure you think 52 is great compared to 90, but 52 is cold. So fall is certainly here, and here to stay until it becomes winter. And by that time, we probably will not be here. So fall is feels even better since you don't have to pay the consequences of fall, which is winter. And that's the way I feel, at least. But anyway, good morning, everybody. What I'll go over today is charts again. I'll go after that into pivot tables. Go over copy and paste into and from. I'll use Word. PowerPoint is no different. I'll just use Word for one. If somebody insists we can do PowerPoint, that's the two only that you're interested in. I'll go into text to column, which is you have a text, let's say first name, last name, that will be my example, and you want to sort and you want to separate to first name in different columns and last name. One of the reasons to sort, show how to do that. And I'll go function, I'll talk in general about functions, specifically about one of my favorite, and I find it extremely useful, which is VLOOKUP, which is to search on data on one tab using a table of information in another tab. Okay? Hello, Paul, how you doing? Nice to see you. I hope you're feeling much better.
Yeah, I am. Big difference a week makes, let me tell you.
That's great.
Howard, you had a question? He has his hand raised. Oh, you're lowering your hand.
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, so let's go. Which one do I want to bring? I think it's this one. No? One second. Let me just clean up a bit. All right. You see large numbers? Barry, are the numbers, you can see the different in size?
Yes, we can see them. They're fine.
Okay. So I'll use the same data I used before. I downloaded.
Now it's small, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Still the same.
I downloaded the price and volumes and close and open of, I think it was AT&T, in September, but that's really not important. Let's say I want to have a chart that shows a daily close and daily volume. Okay, so you have here date. That's a date. Close, volume, open, high, and low. So I want just a close and a volume in this case. So I highlight the data with a heading. You see? Can you follow that?
Yes.
And I go to insert. You see my mouth here? Insert the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's say I want it, you have all kind of graph right here, charts. See that? The problem if I make the font larger, it doesn't increase the size of the ruler. So it doesn't help me. I tried to make it bigger, but I couldn't. No. So I highlight those. Go to, and let's say I want a line. And he asked me what kind of line, I want that. And here's I have the graph. Wait a minute. What happened? Sorry, was the wrong one. Insert. Here's a graph. The problem with this graph is the volume you see is red. You can see it. I think I can make it bigger. You see the graph?
Yes.
The red is are the volumes. The blue line is a closing price because for one thing, it doesn't vary much. It goes between 29 and 31, say, and it's very low compared to the thousands of of shares, 10 millions of shares millions of shares that pass hands. So we really want to create two different y-axles so you can see the two moving separately. And if it's not clear what I say, it will clear in a minute. So you go to design and you go to change, you see here, chart type. And you go on the bottom here, you say combo. I want a combination. And here on the bottom, he tells you, the close, which one do you want to add to the other Y column? So let's say I want the volume to be on a Y, and I want line of both of them. So push that. Now it looks very different, you can see. I have here 28, the close is the blue, you can see here, you see it here, close. And the volumes are in the red. So now you have a better way to understand the impact of the volume and the close price, if that's what you're looking for. There is not always correlation, but in case you're looking for correlation, because the two of them are in the appropriate unit of measure. So here on the side, you have from 10 million to 60 million here. And here we have from 28.8 to 30.40, even though the lowest close price is just under 29.40. Okay, so here's the chart. Now, one of the things you can do with that is to take the chart, because it put it in the same page, copy it, Control C, and go to a new tab and paste it here. And now you can make it larger. Not that's too large, because it's bigger than my screen. And now you have the chart here. Now you can do all kinds of things here. You can do, for example, you want to change the chart title. So you say here chart title, it says on the top. You see that? You see, double click on that and put AT&T August, for example. Now I have
Come home safely.
a new title. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You can change the colors if you want of the lines. If you don't like the red, oh shoot, I have a problem here. Your faces, and you go here and you change the color to black. Okay, again, how you do it? You click the line, right click, format data series. Here you have on the right here how to format, and you change. You see the paint can. You click on that, and here are the colors. You can make the line thicker. You see by the width, and you can say change the color. Now I want to change it to yellow.
I cannot see where you're doing it.
You know what, Nili, maybe you have the same problem I had. The faces are covering the right end of the
Right.
screen.
Okay,
If you
I
go
moved
on the
it.
top
I
and
moved
change
it.
it,
On the top, I can change it?
on the top of the faces, if you bring the cursor to the top, there's one line, a thicker line.
Right.
Go to the one line so you won't see any face.
Okay, done. Now I can
Now
see.
it will. Now you see
Thank
I'm
you.
here.
Okay, thanks.
So now it's you have a chart in his own tab. It changed here. You see the volume is now yellow on the bottom, the legend. The close stayed blue. You can change to whatever you want. You can change the type of the line. You can, whatever you want to do, what makes it stand out for you, or go back, because sometimes you're interested in one measurement more than the other. So you try to have the one that you interest more and jumps out. So that's the charts. Now you can go and change design, and you go here, and you see here, design is here on the top. And you have change chart type, and you have here, you see, it's a line on both of them, close and window. Let's say I want a volume, I'm sorry. I want that to be bar charts, like that, okay? Now we have that. So the bar chart, bars are the volume, and the line is a close. Questions? Now, those are bars for these numbers. If you look at the back here, and I wish I could know how to increase the size here, you can go to a pie chart. I don't know what will happen if I change it to a pie chart. It's really not appropriate for a pie chart, but a pie chart is really more how a group is divided to multiple slices, and you have all kind of stuff. You can play with that, and nothing breaks. We can keep on changing it. I don't know if I push you a pie chart.
Oh, beautiful.
It's beautiful. I don't know what it says really, because it becomes meaningless. It's beautiful, right? Go back. So that on the top here, you have all kind of charts that you can use. Let's go to pivot table, unless you have other questions. Here now I see the faces. I go to pivot table. The first one is this spreadsheet. Can you see the spreadsheet? The numbers are small. I took the numbers, just to give you a context. Several years ago, I consulted with an oil drilling company or oil collection company in Oklahoma. So their role was to go and collect, and from the pumps, collect the oil on a daily or every other day, because every pump is its own reservoir, a big tank, and you have to empty it because otherwise it will overflow, and that's not pleasant and expensive. So here I got for the month of August of 2009, so it was quite a while ago, how much they collected from every well, and that's a meter number because every well has its own meter, and based on that, they calculate, and that's how they pay the money, the royalties the owner of the wells, right? And different days. And let's say for a minute that what you want to know is how much for the month of July, not August, July of 2009, how much you collected in for every well. And as you can see, let me just, you have here 2,900 lines. You see the bottom one here?
Sure.
So it's not something trivial to do by hand. And I did it with 29,000 lines as well. So what you have to do is first highlight the data that you want to include in our analysis. So you go on the first line and you can drag it all the way down, which will be very tiresome. So you can highlight the top line, go on the side here, you see, and you can drop it like any other Microsoft thing. You drag. One second. The top line, and you drop it. You see the thing. Are you familiar with that? The ruler that you move down, the pointer that you can go down, up and down the data.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that? You go to the bottom, hit the Shift key, and highlight the same column. Now the entire part of the spreadsheet that is data is covered.
Do you know if we can do it on a Mac also?
I do not know the Mac. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sure it works the same on the Mac.
So
I
now
hope.
you go to Insert. You see here Home, Insert. You see that Insert here? And the first option you have on the left, very far left, is say Pivot Table. You click the Pivot Table. Now it tells you that. You have two choices. Select the range, table range. You already selected it, so it tells you. It starts with A1 and go to F2905, which is the column in the bottom right. And that's how Excel gives you ranges, the top left and the bottom right. So that's a table. You can change it if you want, you eliminate line or whatever. The other one is new, created in a new spreadsheet on an existing. I never did it in existing, it's too complicated. So only thing you have to do is say, okay, and you have the pivot table. Now, that's where you're going, on the left, you're going to build it. It's not built yet. And here are the places you are going to build in. You say pivot table fields. So it tells you, you have meter number, data time stamp, business date, volume, volume previous and difference. In other words, how much was it, the difference between the volume today and the volume last time you collected, because not all of them were collected every day. So now you have to build the table. So first you build the rows. You see on the bottom here, it's a rows. And about, let's go just, you see rows here on the bottom left, and then volume. Volumes are really the columns. Values, the values. So here's the rows. So I take the meter number and I drag it down to rows. Now I have all the meters, and remember I had 2950 lines. Now I have 101, you see here? Which are the 2950 were really information about just about 100 meters. That's all they have. So now I can move the volume, drag it down to value. And now are the values. So now you have here, and just put the decimal comma so it'd be easier to read it. Okay? The sum of volume, 4 million, 4 million. You see here? That clear so far?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say that you really do not want the sum, you want the average. Okay? So you go here, click on a you see, you cannot see probably, but next to the sum of volumes, here, there's a small arrow. You click on that, you have choices. You go value file setting on the bottom. And now here it tells you everything you can do. You can have sum, count. So for example, if I say count, it tells you how many times did we collect. It looks like all of them we did almost everybody every day. You see here's 18 here, 18 here, but most of them every day just every day.
You have to get a
That's
couple
one
of
thing.
chai in.
Excuse me?
You have to get a couple of chai in.
Right. And the next one is more interesting is average, you see? Now it's even more interesting because now you can see the wells that are high productions or high producing and the one that are not. Now you can see few that the average is 0. So maybe for your purpose of analysis, you're really not interested in them, right? So now you go to another field here in this thing here that say filters. Filters, you see here the filters? So you move here the volume to the filter as well. Okay, now you can see it added this line here on the top. Can you see that volume? And it says all.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on a small,
Could you point to it again, please?
yeah, here.
No, where you got?
Right here, there's an arrow right in the side of the word all, right here, where your mouth is now. Click on that, and you say on the bottom here is a checkbox, select multiple items. Say yes. That allows you to select whatever you don't know, and I will uncheck the 0, which means I do not need the zeros, are not very interesting. Take the 0 out, the zeros are gone. Now I have only 78 meters. So I can focus now on what I really want to analyze. I can also say that you see here's the number 7, right? You see that? Here? And maybe 7 is too small to be concerned with. I go down here, you see the 7 here. I take it out. 7 is gone. I can go here, okay? So that's what we have now. Now, let's say I want to I want to have also volume to have the max, the minimum. So I take the volume and drag it again. So now I have sum of volume and average of volume. And I take the sum of volume, same thing. Click on the mouse arrow next to the words. Go to field setting, and I say I want to do the minimum. So now I have here the first one, well number 111. Average volume was 151, but one day it was just 10,000. Show you the fluctuation. Okay. What else? You can have minimum. You can have minimum. You can have standard deviation. You can variance. You can product. So you can have really some low-level arithmetic calculated in the numbers. So now Now it says here, row label here, you see here? And you don't like the name, so you click on that, double click, and just enter on that meter. And now it's the average of volumes. I don't usually like the words they tell you, so you again click on that. It's the daily average. Okay, and so on. So you can do everything we learned before. You can do and put borders. Same way we did last time. We didn't go all the way to the bottom. So it's just like any other Excel spreadsheet. Now, one thing that I didn't mention is you don't see here's a selection table on the right, you see? But if you click any place inside the data, it shows up again. I'll show you one more example that is from my tennis days, tennis scheduling days in Valencia shows. So, and then of pivot table, then we can move on. Remember, I talked about the scheduling, and that's scheduled for the month of March. I think we never played this schedule, unfortunately, and at least not the end of it. But basically, it says, as you remember, I put number one, I give 4 people, and every given day is number 1. They are playing together. Number 2, all those have 2 will play together. 3, 4, 5, if any, so on. So the number in and by themselves do not have a meaning. A means it's an alternate. And blank means the person did not want to play that day. Now, let's say that I want now to create, that's what we distributed, and I started a year ago to do it differently for the old purpose of entering into Chelsea, because it's very difficult to enter that into Chelsea. So what I did is the following. I highlight the table, okay? You see that? Go to insert, pivot table, okay? Here's a pivot table. So I want name. Now, I want to have by every day who is playing in what game. So the second of the month, I put the name. And I want to do it within the, so let me undo it, I'll do it slowly. So I say I want the second of the month, and I want the name. Who is playing? So now it says game number 1, those are the 4 people. Game number 2, those are the people. Name number 3, 4. There are 3 alternate, and those people do not want to play. Okay? Follow me? In order not to create, to continue how they become practical, I create a new spreadsheet, and I say here, that's the second of the month, okay? The reason I do it, I want to consolidate, to create one for the month. And I go here, and I copy. I click on the 1 here, and drag it down to here, and say copy, and go back here, and I say,
I'm sorry, where did you say copy?
what I say copy? I highlight it, I say Control C.
Okay,
You can also go and do copy here, you see?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay. But control C works for me.
I'm not great about shortcuts. This is one I got used to. Like Control C is copy, Control P is paste, Control X is cut.
On a Mac, it's control V is paste.
A what?
On a Mac, it is
Okay.
control V
Okay.
as in victory.
No, it is.
Now, what I do now, I want to build it for the, so now I have here, the games, and I want to go now here and create one for the next time. The next time is 4, right? So I move the 4, drag it down and enter it above a name. So now is a game for the 4th. So I, again, drag it. Okay, copy. Paste. And that's a 4th. And so on. So now I have the names. And as you can see, there are 5 games on the 4th, only 4 games on the 2nd. And I have a nice and neat list of who is playing with whom and what date. So that's another simpler, in some ways, application for pivot tables. Now let's go with the copy. Okay, so any question about that? Any questions?
I personally will have to use the YouTube again to watch to totally get it.
Okay. Okay. The other one is copy into Excel from Excel. So in order to demonstrate it, I created a can you see the list of names here?
No.
The name of the players.
I see on top.
Sorted by first name.
No.
Let's say that what I want to do is to sort them by last name, and then I want to move back to
your screen.
I want to move it
your
back.
screen's not there.
No, no, no.
Excuse me?
You lost your share.
I did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know why. It just went, I saw it.
You have to share.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Got a Word document up.
Correct. So I created already the second blank page. I want it to be sorted by last name. Okay, now you can say that. And so what I do, I highlight the entire, highlight the names here by dragging, clicking and dragging, right? And it's the same in Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And I say Control copy, copy. Move to my Excel spreadsheet. Let's create a new spreadsheet for that. And you say paste. He has the same name.
We don't see your spreadsheet.
You know, sorry about that. I made the same mistake. Now you do.
Yes.
Right.
Now we have it.
So all of them are in one column because there was no distinction. You copy it as data. So now I want to, in order to sort on the last name, you have to have the last name in its own field, because if you sort it now, it will be by the first name, like it's sorted now, right? So there is a function called text to column. So first, you highlight what you want to separate. Okay. Then you go on the top here. You see there is home, insert, page layout, formula, data. That's where we also had the sort. We went to sort last month, sorry. And you have here, you have sort here. Here there's text to data. You see that? Everybody?
Mhm.
Click on that. Now you have a dialogue. Now you say how you want to split it, by delimited or by fixed width. In other words, is there something delimited? It means there is a delimiter like comma, space, column, and the like. Or you have fixed space. Sometimes you say, I want the first 6 characters to be in one column and the rest in another one. So in this case, it will be, I don't have fixed costs, I leave it there, and I'll say what will be the separation, and I say space. Split it right after the space.
Mm.
Okay, and it shows you here, you see the line here? Let me see if I can make it bigger. No. There's a line tells you that's why I'm going to separate it. And you can look at it, and sometimes somebody has a middle initial, which will really screw you up because there are 2 spaces now. So if it's on one of them, go for that and then manually correct it. That's because the other ways to do it are much more complicated. If you have a lot, you have to separate. If everybody has middle name, you have to separate twice. One column and then the second column twice. Here, nobody has middle initial or middle name. So it'll work fine. I say here in the bottom, say finish. And here we go. The first name stayed where it was, and the last name moved to the next column. There's no reason that it should be bold, so I'll take the bold out. Now I have 2
Are
columns.
you going to show us the reverse of taking the 2 columns and making them 1 column so that we have just one name?
I do not know how to do it. I do not know if there is a way to do it. I never did that. This one. No, I don't know. I do not know how to do it. I never did that. I'm not sure there is a way to do it.
There is a way.
Huh?
There is a way, but I'm not sure what it is.
So I do not know.
I use the most. It's taking 2 columns where I have the last name and the first name. I put the last name after the first name, and I want to get one name out of both columns.
I do not know. I never used it.
Merge.
There is a function called merge. Hold on. There may be I think there's a function now that you said called concatenate.
That's a function.
Concatenate.
I think you're right, Shlomo.
Concatenate.
Yeah.
Where is?
Up above.
There,
Right there. Okay.
Oh, right here.
up a little.
Right here. Concatenate. Come to think about it, I did use it. Concatenate.
But by the way, the previous function that you did of parsing it into 2 fields, if anyone attempts to do that in the future, first and last name is highly inconsistent in databases. For example, if it was Barry space Berlin, it's going to work out perfectly. If it's Barry M. Berlin,
Right.
it's going to be bad. And then the person that goes Barry M. period space Berlin. So you have to, there's lots of possibilities here, which will screw certain things up. But
That's it. And then you have to go to do this column will be the first column would be fine because the first space. Then you have to separate the next column and adjust it manually if you have
Yep.
those situations.
that's correct.
Shlomo, can't you just rename A and B? So move all of A to say C right now, and then that would put the last name before the first name.
I can do that. I can take that. Like you mean that?
And put it, yes, so that way you would have last name then first name, if that's what she's looking for.
You know, but I think the question was to put it in the same field,
Ah, sorry.
the same column, same cell, right, Ronnie? That was your question.
Yeah, I want it as one field, so it
One
comes
cell,
out
right.
like Alan Albert.
So they concatenate. The concatenate is the one.
Yeah,
The
I
function.
think that's what it is. I've never used it, but I'm going to try it.
I did use it, coming to think about it, but it was a longer time ago, and I used it very infrequently. I did that very often. And now you want to sort it. We went through that last time. You highlight the to field, right? You go to data, sort, and you want to sort it on column B. All done. Now you want to copy it. It's easier if you take the grid lines away to copy it. Back to Word, right? So you highlight that, copy, and you go to this here, to this spreadsheet. I'm sorry, I have to go back to Word. And I'm not doing what I'm doing the same mistake again.
You have to stop share and then reshare.
Yeah. And you paste, and you
We
can
don't have
paste
Word
it.
up.
You go here, you put a column, the
We
second
don't
page
see it.
here.
We don't have it. We don't
Your
have it.
Word graph is not up.
It's not up.
You don't see the Word document?
No.
No, not yet.
We see ourselves.
You see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
So now you paste it, and you can paste it, you know, you under paste the arrows. A small arrow, you have multiple ways to paste it. Keep source formatting, future comment, link, and picture, and keep text only, which is pretty ugly. But if you do picture, it's the nicest thing for Word. The problem is that you cannot modify it because it's a picture. So probably the best way to do it is to do that. And now you have it in Word, in a table in Word, sorted by last name. So now we went to text to column, we went copying from Word to Excel and Excel back to Word. And it's just copy and paste, just like you do it inside Word or inside PowerPoint.
I have a question, Shlomo.
Excuse me?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I happen to have an Excel document that I was doing for the sale of my house up north. And for some strange reason, I saved it and then started a second one. And then when I went back, I screwed up and went back to the first one. Is there some way to merge those two documents together and not get duplicates of what I've already put in?
Well, you can merge in two ways. If you have just one tab, you copy what you have in one document that you want to copy from, copy it, and paste it in the bottom of the data you have on the first document.
So I can go all the way across, and whatever my information is, copy it on the first document.
Right.
Okay, then take it over to the second document and paste it on the bottom of the second document.
Correct.
Okay.
Or you can move the entire tab. I don't know, remember if we did it. I'm now in Word. Go back to Excel, I'll show you. You can copy the tab to the same worksheet. So it will be now 2 tabs, and then it'll be easier because it's all together.
I lost you.
I'll show you in a minute. I'm in Word
Okay.
now. I have to be in Excel. So that's a copy. Here you have a table. Now we accomplish our task. We moved from, we copy, we sorted it, and I guess, where is it? Here's the thing, and maybe we can, since somebody asked that, let's give it a shot. What do we do if we want to concatenate? Here we go. Well, one thing, it was not smart enough, so let me do it again.
I didn't see where you
We
did
don't see. We don't
No,
see what
well, I
you're doing.
didn't want to embarrass myself. I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I do it. So I do this. I do that. Concatenate a function, text, because
We
it's
still
a
don't
text
see,
function,
Shlomo.
We
right?
don't see you doing it.
Okay, you go to formula. That's one of the things on the top here.
We don't see
Home,
what you're
insert.
pointing to.
Are you in Excel or Word?
We're in Word. Shlomo, you're showing us Word.
No, I'm in Excel. Ah, you know what? I made the same mistake again. Sorry about that.
Got to stop sharing,
Now,
and then you got to reshare. When you go from one application to another.
No, it's the wrong one. I don't know why it's not smart enough to realize.
Got to stop sharing, and then you got to reshare.
You see anything? You see now? What do you see now?
Nope. Just you. Or me.
Oh, that's the good news.
Now I see practically everybody.
I don't know how I got to this thing here. There you go.
Nope. We don't see anything. Okay, now.
Now I'm in Excel.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going here. I put my cursor where I want the results to be. Let's say I put it here. I go to, you see here on the top, formula. And while we're in formula, let's talk about it for a minute. The formulas have categories. We are not going to go through more than one more formula, but in order to find one, it's calculated pretty nicely. Finance, internal rate of return, interest rate, mortgage, and all the other stuff. Okay, logical. If not, the conditions. Text which we are working on, date and time. You can calculate date, calculate how many days pass from one day to another, and so forth. Lookup, we'll do one of them. That's a VLOOKUP. And then you have math and trig, that is cosinus, tangent, and all the various geometry and algebra, sinus, and all the rest of the stuff. Okay, so I'm going to text here, and I'm going to concatenate, and it comes and say what text you want to concatenate.
No.
You're on the wrong one.
Wrong one.
You clicked on the wrong one.
I'm sorry.
Go
Thank you.
back.
Concatenate. Okay? So what text you want to concatenate? First name. Click on the second one. Now, the way I learn is it doesn't leave a blank. So what you can do is to enter it column, quotes, blank, quote. Say, I want a space. And then I want the last name. Okay? You say, okay. And now you have the name I started with by mistake in the second row, but we'll fix it in a minute. So you see now it's the same field. Charlie, you know what? I went one line to the other. Let's do it right quickly. I mixed two guys. Text, concatenate. The first one will be this one. Second one will be quote mark, space, quote mark. The third one will be the last name. Okay, here you have it. You see here, Ellen Albert. Now, now it's no different. Now you want to do it for all of them, right? You see, you put your cursor in the bottom corner, bottom right corner. Click and pull all of them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to your question, Ronnie, I could have done a last name first by selecting it differently, selecting B and then A. In the sequence you select them. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have middle initial, you can do the same because you can put as many fields as you want. Okay? So we're done with that. Let's go to a VLOOKUP.
Where are you?
So now I have the name here. Let's get rid of those two because they're not important to what we are trying to do. Okay? And let's say I want to find out the email addresses. Okay? So you can go to the book and keep up every one of the name. The other option is I happen to have this spreadsheet here. I'm unhide. What's happening here?
Yeah, you hit it.
Okay.
Buy new ones. Mine has my initial in it.
How come it does? What does it do? Okay. Never mind. I don't know what the story is. So we have here here I have a list of those email addresses. Okay. So what I do is the following. Where is it? So I put here and I say, I want to VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. There is H horizontal, which I didn't find too useful, but so this one very useful because Excel is listed going down. It's rarely something that is sorted horizontally. So I put in equal. I can do that, or you can go here. And here's a VLOOKUP, push it there, and it comes with a table. It makes it really easy. Say, what do you want to look for? What is the field that you are looking to match to? Click on that. I click on the first field, Ellen Albert. Okay, say where, and the second one, table array. Where are you looking at? So I click on the arrow here, and then I go to the other tab, okay? And I say, I'm looking here. And I highlight from the name, I don't need the entire table, to the field that covers the email address. So now I have the name and the email address. Those in the middle I'm really not concerned with. So I have all the names, hopefully all of them, with the email address. And I hit enter. So now it says, in that table, what specific column you want to take the data from. In other words, what do you want? The phone number, the email address, the first name, last name, you can do either one of them. So I say, I want number 4, that's column number 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put 4, column 4, the 4th column, not column 4. The 4th from the first column, because you don't have to start at the beginning of the spreadsheet. You can start in the middle. But the first one that you selected is number 1. And then the last one you can say, I want the closest value to that, or I can say I want exactly. I obviously want the exact one. I don't want somebody that sounds the same to get his email address. So I could put false. And if you read carefully, it's kind of double negative. So false is, I don't want something that is similar. I want something that is exactly. That's why I put false. And you say, okay. And here's Ellen's email address. See? Question.
If you drag it, you get everybody's.
Well, thanks for asking. You see, I want you to see that. It says here that the table is B4 to E49. You see that? Here on the top?
Okay.
That's a table, I defined it. Now, let's drag it only one. Look at the second one. Now it's B5 to E50. Because remember, everything is relative. It keeps on moving it, which is really not good here, because if the list and the table are not sorted the same way, I may go down and won't find him anymore because he is on the top of the list. I want the table does not have to change. It's always the same 40 lines, right? So what you do, and I answer, I think, Nili's question last time, in order to make it not variable, fixed, you put a $sign in front of the number. So if you have here B4, you put the cursor, click between the B and the 4, and put a $sign. You say, I want it always to start in row number 4. Don't fix it for me. Don't adjust it for me. And the same I'll do for 49. Okay, now I could have put one in front of the B and the E. I didn't, because it doesn't make a difference. I go down the same column. So there's no way to adjust the column. Only the rows will be adjusted because it changes. It always, you see, I will always stay in row F. So we will never have to adjust the rows of the table. So if I do now, everybody get his correct email address.
I don't think so.
The second one is not right,
No,
Charlie.
no, no.
Why not?
Charlie
It happened to
Applewhite.
be Charlie's email address. I did it for 2.5 years. I remember almost everybody's email address.
Okay.
It may have more than one email address.
No, but that's the one. Well,
Right.
you want me to prove it to you?
No, I'm just saying that may be the reason is they may know a different email address.
Charlie. Where is he? He's not here at all. Oh, it's right here. You see?
Mm-hmm.
I found that function VLOOKUP very useful. Give
Can
you a practical example how I used it in my retirement day just last weekend. I can maintain all my portfolios in Quicken, and it got out of whack for some reason with Fidelity, where it actually sits. So I download all my holding for that account to Excel. Fidelity allows you to do it. So now I have a list of all my holding in Excel and say how many shares I have. I download Excel, another Excel from Quicken and say how many shares Quicken has. And then go by the ticker number and copy it into one of the two, I think into mine, how much Fidelity has. And then I compare the two and I see what the discrepancy is. And then try to find out what's the cause for this discrepancy. Okay? So that's something I used just last weekend. I don't know if it's really useful for you, but it's something that I found so useful and so time consuming, saving. Because
Can you then use this as a mail merge?
mail merge.
So if you
Yeah. You can take an address instead of email address.
but can you do it with an email address and just say, I want to send XYZ message to all of those people on email?
Word does have user option. I'm not very familiar with that. You cannot do it in Excel because it's really a function that Word will use. They use it. What I do, I take the email address from here, copy to Outlook, which I use for email, and create a distribution list.
All right, I'm familiar with it. What I found, and I have a Mac, and what I had to do was put a comma after each of these emails. I copied, pasted it into an email, and it worked.
So I think what I suggest is easier than that, because you just copy that, you import it into Outlook if you use Outlook, and you have a distribution list. Because Outlook will you have to save it as CSV, which you can easily do, you just save as. And Outlook will take the CSV in and will create a distribution list that you have forever and you can maintain it.
Is it like a group?
Yeah, a distribution is like a group, yeah. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what I did when I inherited the tennis scheduling. I got an Excel spreadsheet just with a name, and I created a distribution list this way. It's easier to maintain a distribution list than a long list, because if you have to add, you have to reduce number, you have to look for it, delete it, and all that. If it's, I don't know, if you use Outlook, I know some people do not like Outlook. I find that Outlook is a great mail system. Works for me. Let's go to another. We went briefly over the if last time, you remember? Remember that? No? We didn't go after the if?
We did do a little of it.
Okay. So here, back to this. I'm using that because hopefully I have tons of stuff on my work. Some of it is confidential data, I guess, still. And the second is this one should be easier for us to relate to. I'm hiding those to make it smaller. No, I don't need those. So I say yes. Yes is the days that people want to play. All right, I explained it last time. So I want to count them, and I cannot count. I can count y by doing this one, and there is a function that does that. But I want to know by days the exact distribution. That's probably not the only way to do it, but that's the way I did it, and it serves the purpose of what I want to do. So I put a formula here. I say if, you see it here? You see on the top?
Mm-hmm.
You say if G5 is this column here, which is the same day, the first of the month, whatever, January, okay, equal Y, see here, then put a 1, comma, 0. And the way if works is if, and I'll show you exactly, because every time I find it useful, if you are stuck with a formula you're not sure, next to the formula here, there is a symbol, the FX, right here. You can see that?
Mm-hmm.
You click on that, now you have a breakdown in the middle that really tells you it's much easier, I found, to enter the information. So I say, what is a logical test? The logical test is G5 equal Y. And I put Y in parentheses because it's not a number, it's a character. If it was equal a number, I would just put the number. If it's equal 5. Now it says value if true, 1. Value if false, blank, which is again, quotation mark, blank, quotation mark. And it tells you here, for the field you say, it tells you already it's false. Because it checked it. You see the false here?
Yep.
Now,
Where did you find the if symbol? Where is that on your?
you see the if here?
Right. Where did that come from?
Just
though?
to the left of it. Ah, where's the if?
Right.
Ah, I had it before. But if not, let's say you want to do it here. I'll start from scratch, okay? You
Please.
see me here?
Yes.
I say, and I'll use a field that will be, so I say equal if.
Where was the if? Can you?
I type it in. I type it in now. I don't
word
expect
in.
it.
Where did you?
IF.
Okay. I didn't see where it came from. That's what I was looking for.
I just typed it.
Got it.
See, it says here underneath that.
Yes.
What if error? If you double click on that, and you have the formula here, the parentheses. Now, if you don't remember how this structure, you go here. You see the if starts here, the formula.
Correct.
You click the func fx next to it, and now you have the condition. And I say if G5 equal, I'm typing now, quotation mark, Y, quotation mark. If true, 1. If false, blank, quotation mark, space, quotation mark. It gives you a blank because that's the right number. But if I move it, one next to it, still blank because you see the 2 blanks here. So it's correct. Let's move it one more. It should be a 1. Indeed, because that's a Y here. That's a 6 here. You see here? 1, 2, 3. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if I move it again, it should be a Y again. Let me just make the column a bit narrower so we can see them all. Okay, here's the one, it starts here. Never mind this column. That's the first one. I put yellow here, something to know that's the first column. Okay, if I move it one more, it should be now ones all the way to the end, right? Because he wants to play every day but the first 2 days of the month. See? Now I can move it now down 2. So it tells me who else want to play on the first of the month of the year. So the third one does right here, right?
This will take many more weeks than just your 3 sessions.
Say it again.
This is going to take more than just these 3 sessions to learn it.
That's why I said that I'll need the YouTube.
But that's a if. But again, don't forget that you can click on the FX. It really gives you spoon feed you field by field. You don't have to remember the commas. It puts the commas for you. You understand the sequence of that and the rest. So it makes it much easier. You have to start with a formula. Say what formula I want to do, because otherwise he doesn't know how to structure it. So you can go to formula by typing it, or get back to the formula, and you find that the formula, and you, like I did with the concatenate, and then it starts this way. You don't have to remember how to spell it, and you don't have to do anything. Just double click on that. So that's what I want to cover today. I think it's plenty. And
Yes.
we have some time left. So if you have any question, I'm glad to go over anything that we move rather quickly through.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You had some phone numbers, and now we have to, and they were just probably phone numbers within the community. And now you have to dial 561. Is there any way of adding that into that block of numbers without having to do it by hand?
First thing come to mind, you enter a column on 561 only, next to all of them. And that's easy. You type 561 and drag it down. And then you concatenate with the existing field.
No, because you don't have the phone numbers out.
I cut them because I needed space. It's right here.
No,
You see?
no, it's hidden.
I hidden them. Yeah, here we go. And I cannot do it that easily here because not all the phone numbers are 561 like mine.
Yeah.
My cell phone, so I'm not sure that that's the best application here to do it automatically. I guess you can because they, if 561 do so, huh?
Yeah, you had a certain block of them that didn't have the 561 before it.
Yeah, those are the numbers that are 7-digit.
Yeah.
If a cell phone is a 10-digit because it is, so you can do it by with a if statement. If and you, because one of the functions is to count the number of characters. If it's 7, do the 561. Otherwise, do not. Because all those functions can add up to a computer language. You can do so many things because you can have function within a function, and you can insert, you can nest them. That's a term that the computer science function, nest them within each other.
There are many Excel classes that are entire semesters. So what Shlomo has been able to show us in about 3 hours is pretty monumental.
Good
Yeah,
job,
exactly.
Shlomo.
Thank you. Their classes is very sad, and for some reason, when I play bridge, they decide to sell me Excel classes because it always shows up on the side, and the specific one come from Microsoft Store. But I'm sure there are many more others. They are pretty reasonable, $30, $40. I don't know how it works, if it's you can do it specific times, or you just download a bunch of videos and show it to you. And I'm sure that technical capabilities of Microsoft extends mine. So that's certainly an option. But if you have a specific question, send me an email. It's very easy. It's shlomo@nezer.org.
What is it again, Shlomo?
At nezer.org. Since I retired, I'm a non-for-profit organization, so I have an org.
Because I don't think they have it in our directory.
I think it should be there. I certainly didn't ask him to hide it. No, I'm surprised. It's
Maybe it's in the new
shlomo@nezer.org.
one. I looked in an old one. I have an old one at my desk.
Shlomo@nezer.org. My cell phone at one of the version is not correct. The area code was wrong. I think they corrected it because I asked them to correct it at least online. I don't think they have been at the book for 3 or 4 years, right? The last book.
Yeah.
No.
So the book
We
is
also
sitting on
have
the
a,
book.
we also
But
have a
online, the
fam-
number is correct.
we also have a family as .org, as all the members of my family are Peggy@alprin.org, and the kids are their name at alprin.org.
Well, I have .org because Nezer.com was taken and .net was taken. So that's not any deep reasons.
Well, I want to thank you, Shlomo. Certainly, over the last 3 months, you've done a lot of spectacular work for all of us. And all of this is available on YouTube. And I will stop this recording and I will set it up on YouTube. If anyone wants to watch it again, certainly you can request those YouTubes, or you can go right to Thinkers, Tinkers, and I, where I list them.
Where do you list them?
I list them on Thinkers, Tinkers, and I, the Facebook group.
Oh,
But,
am I on the I'm not particularly a fan of Facebook, but.
well, you can always contact myself, Shlomo, or Peggy Alprin, and we certainly will get them to you.
Yeah, because I need actually this one definitely, and there was 1 or 2 items on the previous one. So I need both of them.
No problem. I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A big cheer for Shlomo.
Hey, hey.
And a
Thank
happy
you.
and healthy new year to everybody.
I'll see you all in the end of next month. Shana
Shana
Tova,
Tova.
yeah. Shana Tova.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and Bria.
Amen. Shalom.
Hashem.
Bye-bye.
Okay.